My name is Patsy Rainey. I am on the Peace Symposium committee and also a classified staff and part-time faculty employee here at LCC. And it's my privilege to introduce to you the next speaker, Monica Beemer. For the past 12 years, Monica has served as the executive director of Sisters of the Road, which many of you may be familiar with. Sisters of the Road is a nonprofit cafe and a community organization working in Portland to end poverty and homelessness at their root causes. Monica also currently serves as station co-manager at KBOO Community Radio out of Portland. And in addition, she is the co-chair with Marion Baker Kramer of Detroit of the National Assembly to End Poverty. She serves on the National Planning Committee of the U.S.S.F. Social Forum and is on the board of the Western Regional Advocacy Project, working on the California and Oregon Homeless Bill of Rights, and is a core organizer with the Pacific Northwest Social Forum, which will take place in Portland, Oregon, September 26th through 28th of this year, and it's going to be a really awesome event. Monica is from Oregon, and she's very passionate about community organizing and people's movements to create deep and lasting change. So please welcome Monica Beemer.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for coming here today, and thank you for inviting me. So how many folks here have heard of the U.S. Social Forum? All right. So it's great to have so many people who haven't, and it's my job today to spend the next 10 or 15 minutes talking about it, and tonight as well, and I'll be here throughout the weekend, so please ask any questions, and hopefully to inspire you to get involved, because there's a lot going on. And we're really excited, and we need you, because it's going to take all of us, as we've been talking about today. So as we have been speaking of, there is a very noticeable rising of national and international movements in response to this moment in history that we live in, where there is a growing social and economic and ecological crisis. And those movements find a home, many of them, in the U.S. Social Forum and the World Social Forum, which I believe is one of the most important places for us to grow and learn and to vision the new world that's possible. As we've talked about a little bit today, another U.S. is possible, but is also necessary. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how the U.S. Social Forum is in relation to the World Social Forum. But some of the important things to acknowledge about the U.S. is, one, we are in occupied territory. This land has been stolen from the indigenous peoples. And the U.S. Social Forum is an important place for us to come together and grapple with that. And what does that mean? Also, much of the rest of the world sees us as the belly of the beast, as we've mentioned. And much of the destruction and violence that's happening across the planet is coming from, starting with U.S. policies. We also, it's very important for us to notice and look at and study that we have an enormous amount of human rights violations in our own country. While we have a propaganda that our country is based in equality, it is based in white supremacy and patriarchy, and that we have a legacy of capitalism which denies the rights of many groups of people. So we need to look at and bring to the World Social Forum the tremendous amount of homelessness and poverty that is in our country. I was lucky enough to go to the World Social Forum in Dakar, Senegal in 2011, and many people there believe that there's not poverty in the United States. So while we have a special responsibility, and people look to us in the U.S. to work to end the powerful forces of U.S. policy against the world, it's also important for us to bring the truth that there is a tremendous amount of human rights violations and poverty and homelessness in the U.S. So our resistance and our creativity and our mutual care are on the rise. And the U.S. Social Forum is a process that helps us to support that vision. I'm going to move this out so I can see. I can see that. So what is the U.S. Social Forum? So we're a movement building process. It's a lot of times people think of the Social Forum as these large events that happen, which I will talk about what is happening as far as large national gatherings. But really, we're a movement building process. And we're not a conference. It's based in people's movements. It's based in what's happening on the ground, on the street, in people's resistance. And it's led by people of color and poor people. And we know that it will take a huge social movement in the U.S. with millions of conscious people to ensure our future. So the U.S. is a place where we can come together, further our own movements, and bring our movements together. So it's also a place to come up with the people's solutions. So it's a place to listen to each other and learn from the struggles of each other, what works and what is not working, and come up with our own ideas about what needs to happen in this moment in time. It's also multiracial, cross-class, and committed to anti-oppressions, and being led by those who are most traditionally disenfranchised by capitalism. And also to look at how we're doing, as was mentioned earlier by Sarah and the committee, to look at how we are, what our processes are, and how do we unlearn the oppressions that are around us and within us as we do everything we do, and challenge each other and have those hard discussions, which is so important. So as I mentioned, we're part of the World Social Forum, which was actually inspired, I don't know if folks remember, in 1999, the battle in Seattle. Folks remember that? All right. So what happened there was groups across various struggles came together, probably not for the first time, but it created a spark because groups, different struggles started to acknowledge that actually we have the same problem, we have the same enemy, and we need to learn from each other and work together. So it created a spark. So the World Social Forum started actually in Brazil, and was for many years happened every year. Well, also in Seattle, they successfully shut down the World Trade Organization, World Bank. I don't know if you remember that, but that was very exciting. So that was a great success. So it happened every year. Every time that meeting would happen, we would have a people's meeting. It was always in the Global South and led by people from the Global South. This upcoming year, it'll be in Quebec in 2015, and it's the first time the World Social Forum will be in the Global North. So the battle in Seattle was massive protests against the destruction of capitalism and sparked the World Social Forum. So again, it's happened every year to 3 years since then in the Global South, and anywhere from 50 to 100,000 people coming together to learn from each other and to build the people's agenda for the future. Because we need to vision what it looks like, but we also need to strategize and take action together, and we need to learn from each other. So this is our place, one of our places to do this. So the U.S. Social Forum is a regional social forum, which means we're only a small part of the World Social Forum. And so we are accountable to the values and to the format of the World Social Forum. And one of the most important things about the World Social Forum is they work very hard and the U.S. Social Forum work very hard to take the leadership from the people's movements on the ground. So to limit the power of nonprofits and NGOs, and to make sure that we're taking leadership from all of the amazing movements that are happening across the world. So the U.S. Social Forum, which is a regional social forum, a lot of times people think of the big events we've had, which we've had 2. And in fact, it is a process of movement building that happens in between each of those large events. But the first one of the large events was in Atlanta in 2007. And then in Detroit in 2010. And in Atlanta, which was anchored by Project South, we had 10 to 15,000 people coming together. Was anyone there? All right, Caitlin. Move to Amend is one of a major partner in the U.S. Social Forum. And then in Detroit in 2010, we had 15 to 20,000 people. So what do we do there at the Social Forum? So we have self-organized workshops, learning from each other, studying campaigns, studying what works, what hasn't worked. We have people's movement assemblies, which is one of the building blocks of the Social Forum. In the World Social Forum, they call them social movement assemblies. And it's basically where we study what is the situation, what is our vision together, and how are we going to get there, and what is our action plan. And we're going to have one of these tomorrow in the afternoon. We have panels and keynote speakers. That's Maureen from Michigan Welfare Rights. And very importantly, we have work brigades and work parties. It's one of the ethics of the Social Forum to leave the place that you gather better off than when you came, which means with more solidarity and more energy and more resources. So we help out as much as we can, taking the lead of the people of where we are. Children's Social Forum and Youth Camp is very important, of course. And also culture and performances, political film and art festivals are very important and happen throughout most U.S.S.F. Events. And that actually is Mike Crenshaw, who is a well-known hip-hop artist and also my co-manager at KBOO Community Radio. So other things that are important is international solidarity and participation and direct action. So throughout Social Forum processes, we will, again, taking the lead from the people where we're gathering, ask what's needed and stand up for the rights of the people in that area. Our structure is various work groups taking the lead in areas like gender justice, poverty. That's a partial list. And then gathering back together in the larger National Planning Committee, which is over 50 groups, although everyone is welcome and we need support. So the current plans are in 2014, we're having people's movement assemblies across the country, regionally and topically. We're having one tomorrow. We're having one in September for the Pacific Northwest, as mentioned. There's also Central Appalachia. Move to Amend is having several other PMAs. They're happening, well, basically all across the country. And the People's Movement Assembly organizing kit is available out in the lobby as well. And there's a great website and materials for that. So the People's Movement Assemblies build up strategic action, but also bring information to the larger gatherings, which are going to happen in 2015. And for the first time in the U.S. Social Forum history, we're going to have the larger gatherings in multiple places. So Philadelphia, Jackson, and then possibly San Jose, California, which is an interesting, all of these are very interesting places. San Jose is on the doorsteps of many of the high-tech companies that are creating much of the devastation around us. So, and Jackson, I don't know, it has lots going on. Philadelphia always. So pretty exciting to have it in 3 different places so we can travel more closely to our region and build more regionally. And then in 2016, the plan is to have a National People's Movement Assembly where we come together and build our strategy across the country again. So we also have the Pacific Northwest Social Forum, which is happening in September. And on the weekend there, and there's materials out front, and I'd love to talk to you more about that, where we're going to be gathering and learning from each other's struggles and also building our Pacific Northwest People's Plan of Action for social, economic, and climate justice. So we're going to be doing that by having several different PMAs coming together and then building towards a Pacific Northwest PMA at the end of the event. So we hope you can join us. Looks like it's not working. So, did it come up? All right. So why do we do this? We've talked about this quite a bit today already, and I think we all know the importance of this moment in history we live in where so much is being decided, but there's also so much opportunity. We do this so that we can transform our country and change history, and especially the United States' influence on the rest of the world. So as the global movement is rising, the U.S. Social Forum is one of our opportunities to prepare and to meet that global rising. So I just want to end with a little bit of the U.S. Social Forum, what we believe. So we believe the U.S. Social Forum should place the highest priority on groups that are actually doing grassroots organizing with working class people and people of color who are training organizers, building long-term structures of resistance, and who can work well with other groups, seeing their participation in the U.S. Social Forum as building the whole, not just their part. We believe the U.S. Social Forum must be a place where the voices of those who are most marginalized and oppressed from indigenous communities are heard, a place that will recognize indigenous peoples' issues and struggles. We believe the U.S. Social Forum must create a place for full and equal participation of undocumented migrants and their communities. We believe the U.S. Social Forum should link U.S.-based youth organizers, activists, and cultural workers to the struggles of their brothers and sisters abroad, drawing common connections and exploring deeper meanings. We believe the U.S. Social Forum is more than an event. It is an ongoing process to contribute to strengthening the entire movement, bringing together various sectors and issues to work for global justice. Thank you.